Good morning, my friends. May 14th, 2021, 9:50 a.m. And I had to revise this video a little bit because my friend BP Earthwatch decided to throw this info out as I'm making it, of course. That guy's amazing. BP Earthwatch, I'm sure a lot of you guys know exactly who he is. But we are taking a trip to the Cascadia Fault Zone. This is very interesting. For those of you that follow this channel, you know I follow earthquakes and seismic activity, including this buoy chart. Now, for those of you that don't know, this is called the National Data Buoy Center. These buoys are scattered all over the global oceans, and they measure everything from wind speed to wave height to water temperature, wind speed, weather forecasting, you name it, these buoys do it, and especially our tsunami warning system. So if we have a big earthquake, we can rely on these buoys to be set off as that wave approaches any sort of land and let us know in advance how big the wave is, how fast it's moving, and where it's going, more importantly. Now, with that said, I'm sure you noticed there is a buoy right here in the northern Pacific Ocean by Alaska, more specifically, the Cascadia Subduction Zone or the Cascadia Fault Zone. This runs as a fault line through the northern Pacific Ocean, obviously, the Cascadia Fault Zone, and then comes down past the west side of Canada and then eventually turning into our fault zones on the west side of California. The main point being that this is obviously the Ring of Fire, the Pacific Ocean, where most of our volcanoes and earthquakes take place, and that's just fine and dandy. But over the last 7 days, we have not had any really big significant earthquakes in this area of the world. But then when you go check the Data Buoy Center that I check on a daily basis, I'm telling you right now, I have never seen anything like this in my life. This buoy is clearly going off. They will go off for 24 hours after they are initially set off. And when you go ahead and click on this buoy, what you are looking at is a close to 80-foot, maybe 85-foot dip, immediate dip within a 15-second period. So basically, this buoy was pulled down 85 feet, which is a very good 28 meters. Take a look at this. Usually what you see these buoys get set off with is inches. It's very common that a shark can come up to these buoys, especially down by Australia. We see it all the time, that just the movement or the bite of a shark can set these buoys off. So we're talking a couple inches, maybe a couple feet as far as this red line and the data it usually provides. But this is an entirely different story. As you come over to the actual data chart here, I know some of you may not be used to seeing this, but I'm just going to show you the drastic difference in water level that this buoy recorded. And this is no mistake. These buoys do not make these types of mistakes. This is very real, and this definitely happened. Now, it can be hard to find in here sometimes, but if you scroll down, you can notice that the meter, the depth of the ocean, does not really change. Of course, it changes with the tides, but we get these little 1.72, 1.77, but the 4,743 meters stays the same. As we move down towards the time that this happened, take a look at this change. 4,743 meters immediately changes to 4,718, and then right back to 4,743. That right there is the moment that this buoy was pulled down 85 feet into the ocean. Now, what can cause something to drop so far? My immediate thought is a landslide. It certainly may not be the most interesting of answers, but it's the most logical one when we first look at this information. If we take a look at the Cascadia Fault Zone, it is a bit of a drop-off. Of course, looking at Google Earth, it is more of a defined edge right here, but we can see that there is somewhat of a cliff in the fault line that pushes these islands of Alaska up to the surface, and in turn is why we get major earthquakes in this area, as it is part of the Pacific Ring of Fire. So again, the immediate thought would be that a landslide of some sort took place in this area, shifting the bottom of the buoy where it's anchored to, which is kind of demonstrated right here in this image. So we have the buoy on the surface of the water, which bounces with the waves, so we know it has some movement. But now imagine a shark coming and mistaking this for food or something like that. It takes a bite, pulls this thing down a little bit, a little jerk, a couple feet maybe. That will set this buoy off for 24 hours, and in turn, you will see some of these buoys pulsing, just like you do with this one, especially when we get a major earthquake. We've seen groups of these things pulsing up and down because they're doing their job. They're measuring the shaking, they're measuring the water depth, all those things. But to have one going off, one single one with such a dramatic change in water depth is super rare. So once again, something would have had to come up to this buoy and either yank it down 85 feet, and these things are not small. These things weigh hundreds of pounds. They're pieces of equipment. They're not just little rubber buoys that are floating in the water. These things are machines, and very expensive machines too. I don't even think you're allowed near these things, or you can get in some serious trouble. But just in this graphic alone, we could see a little mountain here, and now we can kind of put the idea in our head that maybe this thing was sitting on a mound of rock or loose sea floor, and there could have been a small tremor or something like that, and it could be sliding down this steep area area of the Alaskan Islands by the Cascadia Fault Zone. That is my initial guess. Of course, we do have volcanoes out here as well. Basically, I'm throwing it out there to get some ideas from you guys and cause such a dramatic change in water depth. Clearly, this thing was pulled underneath the surface of the ocean. Even major 7 and 8.0 earthquakes don't change depth on these buoys nearly as much as 25 to 30 meters. Well, it looks like we're all going to have some work to do because I'm not going to stop until I figure out exactly what this is. No idea why we're going to that part of the ocean. We are dealing with this part of the ocean. That's right. So, if any of you have any ideas or any theories about this situation, please let me know. We had a similar thing going on. I guess the map was correct in bringing me over here. But we had a similar landslide in this area. We believe it to be a landslide because then shortly after, that specific buoy, which happens to be this one right here, has been taken offline. Any of these red buoys you see here are currently not providing data. The yellow ones do. This one used to go off all the time, and then it was shut down because I believe landslides were affecting where the buoy was actually braced to the ocean floor, and very well could be a similar situation here, but the 85-foot change is something I've never seen before. Thank you all so much for watching this video. We got to get to the bottom of this somehow. I have a small message for you at the end of the video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and please click that bell, my friends. I will talk to you all very soon. Shout out to Canada. Have a great day. 10:47 a.m., 5/14/21. Bye-bye. Stop right there, my friends. If you have not already, click that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the bell icon. Click all, and you will get all notifications from this channel. And trust me, you won't be disappointed.